Hey people, don't miss this. This is going to be the best message you ever got. You know, I never believed in God, and there's nothing in the King James Bible that would even make me start questioning it. That's the most ridiculous writing. But since I've been reading the Hebrew and the Greek, it's hard to deny it. So this chapter that I've been reading, these last few movies, I had posted this 4 years ago on my Facebook, and this memory come up, and I just saw there was a problem. I wasn't real skilled at reading the Greek yet. I just saw there was a problem in it. It was kind of, you didn't have to read the Greek to be able to see what it said, and I'm much more skilled now. So I want y'all just let me read these last two lines of Revelations 18, and it's going to blow your mind. So, you know, just as I was reading through this chapter, I've been making movies on this chapter past couple of days. This memory had come up from 4 years ago, and I had posted, I let them know that, hey, they warned you 2,000 years ago when they wrote this. But it's Pharmakeia, and we all know what Pharmakeia is, the use of medicine, drugs, or spells. But when they interpret this in that King James and all these other Bibles, they call it magic and sorcery, enchantment. But you know, I had yelled out this one here in Revelations 18, right here where I was reading. By the sorcery of you were misled. By the sorcery, by the medicine, the drugs, the spells, you were misled. And so I was trying to read all the way down through this, and some of it's difficult. There's a lot to learn in it. This is in the last line of this last poem in it. You know, the Pharmakeia here. And I'm going to read it here in this interlinear. It's I already checked it out. It has all the same letters and punctuation. It doesn't change any like many of them do. You know, I showed you that last movie, you know, that all the languages around the Med, you know, cinco, 5 was cinco in all the languages except the Greek, where all the language was supposed to come from. They say, you know, it's penta, as in a pentagon. And so the language change happened between the Greek and the Latin. And I showed you where, you know, the word 5 comes from this sun coin. It's your nickel. And that's why it says liberty on the nickel, and it always has. When it didn't say liberty, it had a rising sun on it. It's the cinco, the sun coin. And so all the other nations that couldn't read, you know, they just called the 5 piece the sun coin. And that's where your cinco come from. Give me a cinco. Give me a 5 coin. Cost you 5. But people knew that 5 was in this chapter. It's all throughout here. The pentos, the 5s, the pentos. And then the pento-ints, you know, this is the people living in the pento, the penthouse occupiers, the Pentagon. And it talks about them several times in here, the pentoints. And it even comes out and says the penthouse in. So what I'm trying to get across is the language change happened after the Greek Bible was written, after the Greek and the Hebrew has been written. And these are both closer to the ancient English. But you can see in the interpretation they give this line, and the light of the lamp no not shall shine in you any longer, and the voice of a bridegroom and a bride no not shall be heard in you any longer, for the merchants of you were the great ones of the earth, because by the Pharmakeia of you were deceived all the nations. And then here it tells what they were aiming for. They were shooting for 3 bloods to profit on. This isn't profits, this is profit on. They're trying to profit on 3 blood types. So this reads, and foes lux now, N-O-W. You know, they didn't have a W, they used the Vav, the U, the W, the V was all one letter. And foes lux now. Foes, your enemies. And lux, L-U-X-N-O-W, lux now. Lux is a unit of illuminance. How bright it is. It comes from the ancient Latin lux, the light. And so the enemies are now in the light. Now you can see them. And this is coming up shortly, because I saw all through the rest of this, it was talking about everything we seeing on the news today. It even talks about the elephants that are walking across China. They say it's ivory, but it's not. This is the elephant in on, and it means gray. The skew as the elephant in on. In on, they say it's fiber, but it means, on is a light, is the color. And the elephant in on, is his color, is gray, is what this means. It doesn't mean ivory. When it means ivory, it'll say odontus, the teeth, the orthodontus, the teeth, the elephant in house. Elephant in house. And by no means am I saying that somebody had prophesied this in the end times of these elephants walking across China. I don't even know if these elephants are walking across China. I don't know if it might happen all the time. What I'm saying is they put it in the news so the people that understand, that know this, they can communicate. They know what time it is. They know where on the page, where on the script we're at. They're following a script. And that's why they're telling us that these elephants are walking across China last week. And foes lux now, of much fame. And this iota has you read this word backwards. And so this is fane, F-A-N-E and then N-A-F. And so fane, can mean willingly, happily. But it's also, the works aboard a ship. The fanes, the work on board of a ship, a task, a job. Of much feigning of in so yet. This is S-O, and then the Y reads with this E-T. In so yet. And the I on the end, you can read it as to make. And I works to make. In so yet. And you look at this, in this word et, and they'll say it means yet, and that's why, because when it follows the word ending with an I, it sometimes means yet, but it's just a part of a word, it's just a syllable, and it goes with many different words. Sometimes it comes before the I am, and it means time, but you can see it, they'll say it has to do with time, still, yet, now. And that's why they say it means yet, because it is so yet make. And foes and your enemies lux shine now, of much work, of much feigning of much working of in so yet. A phone, you, vav, this key is a vav. It could mean and or to. And phone, the nymph, you, and phone, and call the nymph you, to nymph has. And so you always throw out these mythological meanings. But a nymph is an immature form of an insect that does not change greatly as it grows. Not going to change as it grows. And call nymph you to nymphs. Of much accuse it, the accusations, to accuse it. And then after this iota script, it reads backwards. This woke, W-O-K-A-E-N. And call nymph you to nymphs. Of much accuse it. This woken, so yet. At joy, emperor. This is the last line of a poem, and they'll make everything rhyme in it. But this is O-T, to see the mark. The I, Owen, is to see, and the T is the mark. And to see the mark, where is it at? There it is, to see it. It's at. And then J-O-Y, at joy. And so joy is spelled two different ways. Sometimes it's spelled with an omega, And so when it's J omega J or Y, it's to make the end of work. And you're happy, joy, because it's the end of work. But this is the joy into seeing work. And at joy, emperor. This is, a roy is a king, and an emperor is a unchecked ruler of nations, of many nations, rules many kingdoms. The emperor. And at joy, emperor, sow. And this is S-O-W, as in to plant your garden, to sow. Has on how majistains, not the great ones, but the chief men, the lords, great men, lords, the emperor. At joy, emperor, so plants has on how majistains, how lords, those goes. I read this H as H-O, those goes, with this mark above it. Those goes. And then this is hot in a scene. You see a couple movies ago where they put the word next to it as hot, but this is hot. And it's also hotel when it's followed by the EK. And if you look at the word hottie, and they say it comes from hostis, that's the ancient word for hotel, the hostel, hostis. But here it's hot in. En is a B, but it's in, I-N. It's never by, it's always in. Hot in that, backwards and forwards, THT, that Pharmakeia, the pharmacy. And then backwards is the AJ, AY, AJ, the age. And then the EK replaces the L. And that's why they write words like this. That's why they do that. So it can be read as a KE in one direction and an L in the other for when they do this with words. And so this is the Pharmakeia, age of America. Like America. That's where that word comes from. And it means AMR, Homer. That's the word in the Hebrew Bible. They say, and he said, or word, but it means command. In the ancient Greek writings, Homer means to command. The command of America. And in the age of America, has the command. So, to plant. And then the E is the, same as in Hebrew, the plan. Hath, HTH, has on. The plan hath, has on. Hath is the ancient English word for has. The plan hath is on. The panta to heathens. The heathen. And so panta, I showed that last movie, I'll leave a link there. But the panta to is where your word pantry come from. And the panta was the guy in the monastery, and his job was to make sure all the poor people got fed. That's why I say pan is all, but it also means bread. The panta, the bread to, passing out the bread to panta to the nations, the ethna, the heathens, where your word heathen come from. Bread to the heathens. And the hot in that Pharmakeia is fresh out the oven. They just cook this stuff up. Haven't had time to test it yet. The age of command of. So plant the plan. Hath, has on. The panta, the pantry to the poor. To the poor, the nation, the heathens. So they got one drug to phone them few to nymphs to keep them from aging. To phone, to call them few to nymphs to keep from aging. And the other drug is this next line. And in auto, A-U-T-H, auto, and then backwards, T-W-A, twa, 3. And in auto 3, hema is where that comes from, blood, hemorrhaging. In auto 3, hema, profit on, to age on, who wretched, and pant on, tawn. Tawn means fashion or fashionable, and pant on fashion. This fag men on epiths goes. Epiths is an adjective or descriptive phrase expressing the quality or characteristic of the person or thing mentioned. So the person or thing mentioned is this fag men on epiths goes. And in auth it, auth is a creator of writings, whoever created this. And in auth it 3, twa, hema, bloods, profit on. The O blood type never gets sick. It's only the A, the B, and the AB that gets sick. That's the 3 blood types that they profit on. And to age on, who wretch. Who's going to be unfortunate or unhappy. A despicable or contemptible person. And pant on tawn. The tawn is the fashionable class. This fag men on epiths goes. And so what they're saying is, the epiths of the fag men, but they're wanting to stop people from breeding. And that's the plan, is they're going to turn everybody into fag men with a drug, with a pharmakeia. And they have a plan, has. And so hath means has when you're going to use 2 of them. The plan has on. The panta to the nations, to the ethna, to the heathens. And not shall be heard in you any longer. They're going to stop them from breeding. And you can see how they play on this word, The so yet it's a society without the C in it. S-O-C-I-E-T-Y. The society is soy, as in soil. So yet make. In so yet make. So this key here, all it does is represent this single letter. And so they use it for several purposes. Sometimes when it's read backwards, it's a jack. J-A-K. But the way you're going to know that this day has come is going to be UFOs light now. And they're going to come on the news and they're going to be showing you pictures of UFOs landing. The UFOs light now. And everybody's going to be freaking out, but the people in the know are going to know, oh, this is the day. The UFOs light now. That the enemy's light now of much feigning on, the feigning of, much working of, in so yet, in the soyety. Not the society, but the soyety. The dirty heathens. So, if you're here, if you made it this far, it's time to share this. There's probably only, I might get 100 clicks on this, and probably about 25% of them are watching it to the end. So there's probably only 25 people that are watching this. So I need y'all to share this and get the word out. And they trying to warn us. They're playing by the sheet, They're not doing anything wrong, they're doing it's right here in the word what they were going to do. They're not changing the game plan. People are just dumb. And it's time that they shall be heard. Too much accuseth this awoken. You see all the words in here, they put them on the news to let you know, that this is the page. We're on page 18 now. We got 4 more pages and we're back at the beginning and starting over again. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.